David,
Gagan!
how you doing, bud?
I am tremendous, Gags. Tremendous. How are
We're
you?
back. We're back together after a long time. Was it post-season we did one?
Yeah, I want to say it was like early June, maybe?
Yeah, so just before the stuff was kicking off, like before literally everything kicked off. Like honestly, like it went flipping nuts. That's got to be one of the most, or the craziest. Actually, it was May. It was just after we won the title. So I guess, yeah, nothing had kicked off at all before the craziness. Before we get there, though, how are you doing?
Yeah,
How's
no, I'm good.
how's
I'm
life?
good. It's been a busy summer. Obviously moved house and trying to get this place into a livable state,
Hmm.
which involves quite a lot of building work. Which I'm not particularly good at, but I can swing a hammer and a shovel with the best of them. So when it came to lifting, carrying, and doing heavy stuff, that's what I was called on, and skilled people did the skilled work.
Yeah, amazing.
How,
I mean, as
how have
long
you
as
been?
very good, actually, very good. I'm trying to find your blooming Twitter handle because it always changes. What is
It's
the
at
Twitter handle?
Hendrick D82
I keep doing Dave first. That's why.
because Elon doesn't like me and continually bans me. So I have to set up new accounts and try and drag
Yeah,
them to ten
maybe
thousand
maybe
followers. And I'm
someone.
sure when I get this one to 10,000, he will ban this one as well.
Well, maybe someone should ban him. But anyway, um, we could get there. But no, everything's good on my side, mate. Yeah, life's going well. Been doing this YouTubing stuff. I'm glad that I can talk to you now on here. I've gone away from podcast now, more to video to drive the revolution on Anfield Index, should I say? As what was Eddie asked me to do back in November. And I'm certainly not the main guy doing this. I'm only doing once a couple of times a week, but all the others have put in so much effort, and it's doing really well. So I'm really pleased with where things are going on AI and privately, personally, everything's looking good. So I'm glad, things are going well for you as well. But and oh, here you go. Here you go. Someone's saying, "Oh, you're back on YouTube. I used to listen to all the podcasts." Yes, we're here, Madman. Nice to have you here with us. So please do keep listening to us. But yeah, I think we got a lot to catch up on Liverpool wise, bud. Like loads,
It was a
loads
pretty
and
busy
loads.
summer, wasn't it?
It was, and and usually when we were doing podcasting together, we'd be doing something after each signing. But I think this is let's do. Obviously, we've discussed this separately. I think we've covered everything off, but I don't think we've talked together about anything. So I suppose as soon as we won the title, we went straight into the transfer window, and it's been the craziest summer, I think. Like the craziest. Um
I think because of that Club World Cup, Audi FC, preseason friendly nonsense that was taking place in America, and the early transfer window that was given as well. I do think that helped us because we got the Frimpong deal done. We obviously got the Verts deal done. So we got business done early. We had Mamardashvili done from last summer. And then we were just able to keep that momentum going. And sort of once we got the Frimpong deal through the door, it just opened the floodgates. So you saw Verts come in. Well, I think Kirkes came second, and then Verts came
no,
in, and then
Pickett was afterwards, yeah.
was it? Yeah, and then Ekatiki came in. So like we had most of our business done very very early, and then it was just a matter of going through whatever nonsensical dance Newcastle wanted to lead us through to the conclusion that we all knew was going to happen, which was that Alexander Isak was going to be a Liverpool player. Obviously, the only disappointment then is that we don't get Mark Gahey to just be the cherry on top of the cake. But you can't fault how the club went about the window this summer. They played it to absolute perfection, both in terms of the incomings, where we've absolutely just had an amazing go of things, and then the outgoings as well. We've done brilliantly with.
You know what it felt like, Dave? It felt like the transfer committee pod. that
Yeah.
they finally did like a real life transfer committee pod. Like we've always been like, this is what we should do. This is what we should do. Like we can sell all these, we can bring all these in, and obviously that much change every season would be crazy, you know. But I think we were due. We were due the changes. We were due such a big window and a refresh of the squad. And obviously the focus has mainly been around, you know, fullbacks and attack, really this window. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I called it. I said it would be a lot of signings this summer. It just looked like, you know, everything people were either saying as the season was ending, or if you watched the like on the pitch, you know, let's be honest, Nunez just wasn't working. Diaz having to play striker wasn't ideal, you know. Gakpo being trusted more on the left than Diaz, and Diaz playing striker more than Nunez was. There was writing on the walls for both of those, and like Joyce has come out and said now, you know, that Diaz was, you know, looking to leave last summer. So I think, you know, it was
Well, I
clear.
mean, Sam Maguire told us that months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. We knew that. Well, we knew that last year, didn't we? That he wants to go. And I remember Sam telling me last summer that he wants to go. So I think it's just been really interesting how they played it. I think the Jota stuff, obviously, if we just touch on it, happened and slowed everything down, but rightly so. It should. When things like that happen and tragedies like that happen, things are gonna just pause and take their natural course, you know. And it was, I guess, that was the hard part of the summer. So much happened this summer, you know. When you look back, it's so many highs, but with a real deep low as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that as a club we will never forget, and as a fan base certainly we'll never forget the player because of the wonderful moments he gave us, and then all the imagery that you see after, you know, that beautiful young family of his, and just the heartache that you feel for his wife and for his kids. But the thing is, and people don't like to hear it, that didn't really change any of our summer plans, because Diogo was almost certainly leaving this summer. He was on the list to go as well. And it's very possible he would have gone to Newcastle. And I believe he would have gone to Newcastle and
Me
they
too.
wouldn't have signed Johan Vissa.
Me
So
too.
their original plan, I think, was that they would get João Pedro from Brighton, who they went for first. He was their big money striker target. And then Diogo would be the ready-made, more guaranteed, versatile forward. Then obviously they didn't get João Pedro because they pricked around for too long, and then it led to that nonsense with Ekitike. But obviously that all happens after Diogo's passing. And they go and buy Vissa, but I do think that would have been Jota for them. I think they would have taken Cash and Jota. And I know that it's been rumoured, and we've both heard it from different people, that the original deal was Cash and Diogo Jota to Newcastle for Alexander Isak.
Yeah, it's horrible and hard to discuss and talk about, but that's what the info was saying. And so, you know, Jota was always unfortunately leaving, but and you know, that's not happened, and that's obviously the summer has unfolded the way it's unfolded with what's happened there. And you know, in the end, Newcastle pivoted to try and get Ekitike. It looks like Liverpool always wanted Ekitike, so that wasn't really going to happen, was it? When he's got his eyes set on coming to LFC, he's not really going to go there. So I mean, that was everybody was really surprised by it, but I'm so glad we got him, Dave. Like, his start has been excellent.
It has, but the thing is, we've needed it to be because we haven't had Isak through the door. You know, so we've needed to have that ready-made number 9. And my concern with Hugo when we were linked was I just didn't think he was ready-made. And I still think there's a lot of work to be done, but he's had a tremendous start, and I've really liked how he's dealt with the physicality of the league. I think he's been dealt a tough enough hand. It's been three
real tough games.
3 real tough games. And when you look at the players he's gone up against, like, obviously with Bournemouth, it's the two centre-backs they had both left, and Diakite had just arrived like 2 days before we played them. But he's an outstanding defender, and Hugo dealt well with him. Up at Newcastle, two physical grocks who just wanted to pull and drag and kick him. And we played terribly in that game. And he got no support, and he still played well and dealt with everything that came his way. And then obviously, look, Arsenal, they packed their defence. They picked seven defensive players for their trip to Anfield, which is just kind of hilarious that's the approach that Mikel Arteta takes, that he plays with such cowardice that he packs his defence to a ridiculous extent. But look, that's what they wanted to do. And again, Hugo, without too much service, dealt well with the scraps that he got in the first half. And then in the second half, when we started to play better, he came into the game a bit more. I still think, he's at this point in time, he's going to be coming off the bench once Isak is up to speed. And I think that's probably the right way to use him, because he's still got a lot to learn, and you don't want to put too much on his plate. But I mean, when you start to watch the kid play, he's going to be something special.
Sorry, I'm sneezing, so some pause there. I completely agree. I think it's the right time. I think he's going to get a few games at the start of the season, and I think we're going to try and play. I'm trying to block my sneeze here. This is a terrible live video, but I going back to back to Ekitike. So I think he's, like you said, he's done really well. Been dealt a tough hand. He's playing in a team that's not clicked just yet in terms of Wirtz being there, and he's got to click with Mo and with Gakpo. I think actually he's linked well with Wirtz more than anything, especially in the Community Shield, when they were just doing flicks and tricks to each other in the middle of the park. That was really nice to see. I think we need to see more of that. I think linking with Gakpo and Mo needs to work on, but he's very, very young. He's the youngest. I think that's where Isak will come in real clutch, because he'll link with those players, I think, much more naturally, much more faster. Just played so much more football. So I'm really looking forward to
Isak is also much more of a pure number 9.
Yeah. 100%.
Whereas Hugo, I think the awareness and the partnership with Wirtz is already really starting to show. But like you said, it's not there with the wingers yet. But Hugo's kind of like a 9.5 in that he doesn't always play up against the centre-backs. He likes to drop off. He likes to have the game in front of him rather than back to goal. He can do the back to goal stuff. We've seen that. But he prefers having the game in front of him and being able to carry and link and play short, quick passes. So I think that will come with him. But I think Isak, it's more natural. He will provide a focal point for the attack. He will provide a target for Mo and for Cody from the wings. The one gripe I have with the attack is there's not a ton of pace. The lads are not slow. Like, Hugo's not slow. He is a quick player. It just takes him a little bit of time to get there. Cody is pretty slow. Mo doesn't have the explosive burst he used to have. And Wirtz is quick, but again, he's not explosive.
It's dependent
Isak can be explosive.
Yeah, it's dependent on him, basically. Everything's dependent on him. So
we're going to rely on him for pace.
So Darwin was pure pace, but he had nothing else. Like, there was nothing else in the box, like in the head. There was nothing in the brain. There was no finishing. So I guess if we're replacing him with Isak, it's like the biggest upgrade you could probably ever get.
Careful now, you'll have Mo Salah in the stream telling you to respect the champions.
I do respect the champions. I praise him that he won the league. He's a Liverpool champion, but it is an upgrade. Mo, you got to let us have our opinion as well. At the end of the day,
I mean, look, Mo knows it's an upgrade, but Mo is also entering a period of his career where he is. I think he's the longest serving senior player at the club.
Outside,
obviously Curtis has been at the club. Oh, well, Joe Gomez has been there longer, but Joe is still only in his 20s.
That's mad. How do you know?
Curtis has been there longer, but he was in the academy for a bunch of time.
Yeah.
But as well as that, with Mo, like people saying, "Oh, it's strange seeing Mo come out and say stuff like that." One of Mo's friends died this summer. That's the thing that people have to factor in. Like, these players lost not just a teammate but a friend. Diogo was immensely popular with the other players, not just at our club. Diogo was popular everywhere because he met a lot of other players through different sponsorship work, different charity work. Obviously, when he did his work with the FIFA games, EAFC or whatever it's called now, like, he got to know a lot of other people, and people just were drawn to him because of his personality. Which is kind of funny because the Diogo we watched had plenty of needle about him and used to wind people up, which was great. But I think that's part of it with Mo, is that, you know, he lost a teammate. He wants to respect those that are still with us, and even the players that left, he wants to make sure that their legacies are kept intact. But you are right. I mean, look, Darwin was a big gamble by Jurgen that didn't pay off. In the second season, I thought it was trending in the right direction, where, like, his all-round game did legitimately improve, and he had some really, really good games, but his finishing never got there. And it became very clear that it was a mental thing with Darwin, that he was too sort of hyperactive in his own head. And that's one thing I like with Hugo, is that when you watch Hugo play, and Cody's the same as well, when you watch them play, even when they're playing, let's say, not as well as they can, when they get a chance in front of goal, you back them to finish it because they're calm, because they're highly intelligent footballers. I wouldn't class Darwin as a highly intelligent footballer. I'd say he's an instinctive footballer, the same as Diaz.
Correct.
But, you know, you look at Cody. Cody hasn't played well in any of the 3 games this season, and yet he's still got multiple goals and an assist. Because when Cody is in a position to score, everything else becomes irrelevant to Cody.
Yeah.
It's just the fundamental technical ability and that muscle memory of knowing how to sweep a chance home. With Darwin, you don't know what was going through his head. And, like, this is a guy that turned simple chances into really low XG chances. The Brentford chip, for example, where there's 3 different options, and he decides, oh no, secret option number 4 is where I'm going with this. I'm going to lift this over the fella. Just a bizarre individual. But look, I'll always have time for Darwin. I think as a person, you couldn't help but like him. I think he was dealt a rough enough hand, because I think some stuff was leaked from the club that shouldn't have been leaked, like his struggles with learning English. If you have an issue with him struggling to learn English, you move to a Spanish-speaking country and learn Spanish in 3 months, like a good lad.
Not easy. And I just want to go back to your Mo comment. I put something on Twitter actually about saying I felt like this is Mo's way of dealing with grief and, like, you know, protecting his team and protecting the team from last year. And since he had that outburst in front of the cop, of emotion, that is, outburst of emotion in front of the cop post Bournemouth, you know, you could see there's a change in how he writes about players, or has been, you know, very emotional about people leaving and what he's been showing. And I know he's been doing the photos all year last year. That's different, you know, with goal scorers. That's completely different. That's just a thing he does. But this is different when he's actually coming to. I've never seen him come to bat for any other player on Twitter. Like, I've never seen him come to defend anybody on Twitter ever. Like, just, you know, I haven't. And like a teammate, that's the first time he's doing it. And I think there's a protectiveness coming from him now that he's. I guess he probably just didn't get to tell Jota what he thought of him, and now he wants to make sure that people he plays with knows what he thinks and how he wants to, you know them by and know them as. So it's lovely from him, to be honest.
I think we've all been in this kind of situation, though, where somebody has passed away, whether it's a friend, a relative, whatever, and you never fully got to tell them how much you appreciated them, or maybe things were left on bad terms, or whatever the situation might be, and you live with that regret. And like you say, Mo probably Diogo was 29.
Yeah.
You don't expect that you're not going to see him again, even if it's in another jersey. You expect that you'll see him again and your paths will cross and you'll talk and, shoot the shit. But that our players were denied that opportunity with Diogo. And obviously not just our players, but everybody around the game that loved him so much. So Mo probably does want to just be that kind of overly protective older brother, and especially with Darwin, because it was very clear that Mo had a soft spot for Darwin, and Darwin was very, very fond of Mo as well. I think it was more the Darwin thing than anything.
I think you could see, though, that the whole front line last year, they just seemed to know each other's roles really well. They fit each other really well. They got on together really well. And I think they all looked up to Mo as well, all of them. And that's why he excelled so much last year, was I think they all understood him. They all trusted him completely. And it was known, you're the number one. We're all going to play around you. And we're going to do what we do. I mean, Mo could have had an all-timer season if people put the chances away that he created for him, to be honest. And I think Diaz and Darwin missed a lot. I think maybe Jota even missed quite a few as well. So I think it would have been a different season, but it was working. It worked really well for us, and we won the league with it. Can it be better? 100% it could be better. And I'm hoping this season, once they all click together, having Wirtz in there, having Isak in there, having Ekitike. By the way, we didn't mention it. I think Ekitike might even move to the left sometimes.
I think it's entirely possible. I think he could play left. I think there might be some games where he plays not as a 10, but as a second striker.
Yeah.
I think we'll see Arne play with the formation a couple of times this season as well.
Mm.
I think
what formation do you think, interestingly? What could we do with this squad? What's your, outside of 4-3-3,
we don't play 4-3-3 for starters, so we need to just win that idea.
Yeah.
Arne talks about it because it's 3 midfielders and 3 attackers, but it's 4-2-3-1. It always has been.
Yeah.
It's just something I'm pedantic about. So I do think we saw it last season away to Man City, and we saw it in another game, and I can't remember what it was. It could have been Villa. We played like a box midfield, and we played Graven McAllister with Dom, and Curtis kind of played as a left winger, but he didn't play as a left winger. He played really narrow on the left and made a box midfield, and Dom shifted more heavily to the right. So we had a striker up front. I think it was Lucho. Mo played like a roaming role on the right, but he played closer to the striker than normal. And then you had Dom and Curtis behind, and then Gravenberch and McAllister behind them. And then your back four. And I do think he could lean into something like that, but have Mo play as a striker, play with 2 up front. So in possession, you've got 2 fullbacks that will then bomb forward, which I really want to see Kirkes just allowed to play like Kirkes. Yeah. I don't like how we're using him at the moment. 2 centre-backs, 2 in front, and then you've got a front 4. One of them would be Wirtz. I think he takes on the role Curtis had in that shape last year. Although you could play Wirtz and Curtis as the 2 if you want to keep Szoboszlai at right back where he's been so good. But if it's, let's say, Frimpong or Bradley, then you go Frimpong, Bradley at right back, Kirkes left back, Virgil and Ibu in the middle, Gravenberch and McAllister, Szoboszlai and Wirtz, and then you've got 2 forward spots. And I think you can then rotate Mo, Isak, and Hugo, which helps mitigate Mo's age and to manage his minutes across a season so he doesn't burn out, as he's had a tendency to do. Isak's injury issues that he's had through his career, and just Hugo's development phase, so that you're not overloading Hugo with minutes, you're not overloading him with pressure. If you've always got 2 of those 3 on the pitch, you're going to score goals. Now,
you've got to have one of Isak or Mo on the pitch, I guess.
Yes, that's exactly it. So let's just say in each of them will play 2 out of every 3 games. So you'll have Isak and Mo, you'll have Hugo and Mo, and you'll have Isak and Hugo.
Yeah.
In rotation. And
that's perfect. Literally every combination.
Exactly. And then, I mean, obviously, I know it means Cody misses out, but...
Yeah, what I was going to say, what does that mean for Cody? If we move to... If this becomes every game, or do you think it's every kind of the game that needs it? And the other question I have for you, instead of box, do you see a diamond as well?
We don't have a 6, so we can't play a diamond. We don't have anybody in our team who's good as a first receiver. So in a diamond, you have to have somebody that can go and take the ball off your defenders and get you playing forward. And we don't have that player. Alexis is always better as a second receiver. Gravenberch is more suited to being a second receiver because he's not a good enough passer to play that role. So we just don't have the player.
He's a carrier more than
He's a carrier,
yeah.
But if you play him as a 6, teams are just going to sit off him. Gravenberch unlocks his carrying when teams press him. When teams don't press him, he doesn't get opportunities to carry. And we saw in the back half of last season, and we've seen it in the games so far this season, he's not carrying the ball because teams are not pressing him. Because teams know there's no fucking point in pressing him because he's 6'2" and he knows how to use his body and he will just spin the first player and then he's galloping into space. And once he builds up that head of speed, he's hard to stop.
He's very fast with the ball when he's got
going. That's the thing. And he covers ground really well because he's got a long stride. Like, Gravenberch looks kind of funky when he runs because his stride is kind of elongated. It's almost like a stride and a half every time he steps. So he's carrying the ball really quick and he's advancing up the pitch like he's gobbling up ground. And all of a sudden, if you've got one player taken out and all of a sudden you've now got your defense shaped man-to-man or by zone, but this deep-lying midfielder is now advancing with the ball, someone now has to go and meet him, which takes them away from their designated marker. And that makes it very hard for teams. Like, that's where he had success in the first half of last season, was that ability to spin, then beat that second man. And now he's taken out 2, and a defense is properly scrambling. But when teams don't press him, he falls into bad habits. And those habits are his first option to pass it to is Virgil. His second option to pass it to is Ibu. And his third and fourth options are the fullbacks or Alexis. And all of that is backwards or sideways. And that doesn't help us progress. And that makes us very stagnant. And when teams stopped pressing him, we became very stagnant in the back half of last season.
So this is an interesting discussion. Do you see a future for him further up in those 2 in the midfield roles where you were putting Curtis as well, you know, in terms of, because he's done that for Ajax, right, in the past, very well, I think. Or
I think he can play the 8 role.
Yeah.
The McAllister role, I think he could play because then he's receiving the ball between lines on the half turn and that helps him as well.
And there's rumours today of Wharton next year already.
And that's the thing. Look, the bottom line is Arne Slot walked in the door and said, get me someone for the base of the midfield who can pass. And no matter how well people think Gravenberch has done, he can't pass the ball in that way. He doesn't pass it quickly enough. It's Gravenberch does things that Emre Can used to get absolutely fucking hammered for, which is takes 4 and 5 touches every time he has the ball. But Emery was getting hammered for it because the team weren't winning. The team weren't good enough. We weren't winning league titles. Gravenberch doesn't get hammered because the team is winning every week.
Can I put this then? Imagine if Slot had Thiago.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at.
If Arne Slot got a 24-year-old Thiago...
That's the profile you're looking at, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. Now, I think Thiago was very small, is the issue. Gravenberch is 6'2". Thiago, I think, is 5'8". So you are then losing 6 inches in height. So you have to find that somewhere else. So then you go Gravenberch maybe into the McAllister role, but then you're leaving out the guy who, if we had Thiago, would be the second best midfielder at the club, but is the best midfielder at the club. But a Thiago Alexis midfield is a little bit small. It's a little bit slow.
So I guess what Grav's adding is not only that, the height is massive for him. He just moves a little bit more forward. But then, we've got other midfielders in there at the moment.
And he covers ground well because he's got that long stride. So because he's like, he doesn't look quick. Gravenberch, you watch Gravenberch play, he doesn't look quick. But when he's running and the ball is elsewhere and you can just see him running dead straight to get back, you see how quickly that ground gets eaten up. So, he does. He offers more mobility as well.
What I like from what I'm hearing from you, Dave, there are positives to Grav. There are some good things about him. The thing is, he's just not perfect for that role. That's
he's just not a 6.
Yeah.
He's not a 6. He's never going to be a 6.
Exactly. So I think that's why Arna's using him there, because he ticks, say, 4 out of 6 boxes. And we need all 6 of those ticked, let's say, to get that role perfect, because we need someone to ping the ball from there, not just look for a pass in between lines, but I need that 6 to pass it wide. I don't want it to go to Verge and Verge do all that on his own all the time. I need someone else, because Verge is the only one stretching us at times, like over to Mo. That used to be, we used to have Verge doing it, and then Thiago would pick it up, and then Trent would do it.
But Fabinho could do it too.
Yeah, and we're stuck now at the moment with those pings with one. So we need. And
now, Dom at right back does help that. So, playing Dom at right back does mitigate a lot of what we lost with Trent. He's not a Trent level passer, but he's pretty close. He's as good defensively as Trent, but he's quicker than Trent and he tries harder than Trent. Therefore, he's more valuable defensively than Trent. So, as an overall balance, I genuinely think if you gave Szoboszlai this whole season at right back, you'd be very comfortable going into next season saying Dominic Szoboszlai is the best right back in the league.
I was going to say maybe in the world if we win a lot of stuff. I think basically he's got all the attributes. I was on with Grizz last night on this, and we did our best 11, and I actually put Dom at right back.
Yeah,
best 11, because from what I've seen so far, he's dealt with a lot of teams.
But he has to be in the team, Gags.
Well, exactly.
He has to be in the team, because here's the thing, right? We look at last season. Trent at right back started the season defensively very well, was engaged, was locked in, was putting in the effort, and then that started to fade very, very badly. And by the time we played United at home, that still remains one of the most disgraceful performances I've ever seen. And he never recovered defensively after that. Mo on the right wing is given license to not always track back.
Yeah.
Because we want Mo as that outlet going the other way. So when we win that ball back, we're going to look for Mo. He's option A to give it to him, because he'll then either score or create something. Gravenberch as the right-sided one in the double pivot, learning a new position, not the best defensively, doesn't have great instincts for the role, but is a willing runner and a willing closer and presser. When people point at, interception numbers, and interceptions are a stupid stat, but recoveries are more interesting to me. Yeah. And Gravenberch gets a lot of recoveries, but he gets most of them in the opposition half, not in our half. Because he's a good presser, because he's big, because he's quick, and because he's got good dexterity. So if he's pressing someone and they try to slip a ball by him, he can stick a telescopic leg out. We used to see Fab do this. Gravenberch is quicker than Fab was.
Yeah.
So he's able to turn the ball over high up the pitch. Defensively, he does lose runners quite frequently and picks the wrong thing. And he does that Henderson thing as well, of blindly pointing for people to do things that he should do.
Yeah.
But he's still learning the position. He's only 12 months into this.
Yeah,
But
I
we
think
had
they've been very
Sabozlai
fair.
playing as the
Been very
10.
fair.
Just let me finish this for a second.
Yeah, yeah,
We had Sabozlai playing as the 10, who was able to cover for all of them and make up for all of them. Florian Wirtz cannot do that. So you weaken your team enormously defensively when you take Sabozlai out and put Wirtz in. So you've got to find somewhere else for Sabozlai to be, or your balance is going to be completely fucked.
Oh,
Oh,
I
I
know
shouldn't
you.
swear on YouTube.
No, you can. It's fine. I know you like the idea. We should talk Verts in a minute, but and I'll get there. I think you've hinted on something there already, but I'm gonna ask you the question in a sec, which I'm sure you'll agree with. But I think with Dom, like you said, he's got to play. If he's not playing in midfield, he's got to play at the back. But I think there's a way of bringing him in, and the way could be that Vert starts on the left for some games, instead of Gakpo.
Yeah.
Or you play that box midfield thing where he's playing and Gakpo's not in the team then anymore. But because then you can play Grav, Mac, Dom, and Vert in the same team as a
Yeah.
four, right? Which is insane. Insane. Imagine that. Imagine Dom and Verts like going left and coming in, going central, just having that freedom to, and then Dom's energy in the team, allowing to unlock Maka as well, let him to get into those forward positions, because Maka's great as well, by the way. We've just locked him up sometimes, and don't let him go too far forward sometimes. So there's a lot of talent in that four. I guess you could say if the view is from I've not brought him to play, on the wing, and I've sold him the dream of the 10, then obviously he can play a kind of an 8-10 hybrid role when he does that box. But in the 4-2-3-1, just say he was I need to stick to 4-3-1 for a certain game, and he wants to play Dom in the 10. Surely Wirtz could play, in the left wing, or Dom could at a push.
The issue when Dom does it, though, is that we're still then wildly exposed down our right side defensively.
Yes,
because whether it's Bradley or Frimpong, they're not good defensively. Mo doesn't help them, and then Gravenberch is left exposed. So Dom could definitely do the left-sided role, but then we trigger issues elsewhere. Kind of has to be on the right side or available to the right side of the pitch. But I do think, like, if we're playing City away, for example, now they might be terrible this year. They've lost 2 of their 3 games. We'll see. But if we're playing City away, I do think it makes more sense to play Dom as the 10, unless he's playing right back, but Dom as the 10 and Wirtz off the left. The only thing is, when we play Wirtz off the left, and it is going to happen at some point, he's going to have to play there in some game, multiple games, whatever. We need to free Kerkez to go and overlap and underlap and create that runner for him, like he had with Grimaldo at Leverkusen the last number of years. Thus far, we're playing Kerkez more as a third centre-back than as an actual fullback. It's not his game.
Well,
and if this is what we want him for, I don't know why we bought him, because we should have just bought Hincapié.
Well, that's where Gehi would have been fine if he was playing the third centre back role like that. He could play left back, centre back, and he would not have to go forward, and that would be solid. But I agree with you. I think also, what the big problem has been, whenever Kerkez has got into positions of going forward and overlapping, underlapping, Gakpo just never passes to him, Dave. He is, if you watch, Gakpo doesn't actually pass to many people. Like, I know the Ekatike goals come because of he's gone for a shot first and he's deflected back and then he's put it into him. But did he look for him first? No, he doesn't. If you watch him, it's pretty selfish from him. It's one-trick pony stuff from Gakpo.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And unfortunately, he's just not trying to link up with Kerkez at all. Who's giving him so much space, and it's causing. Obviously, he's trying to decoy stuff as well. But sometimes you got to use him. You got to use him. Like, otherwise, the decoy doesn't. It's gonna. No, people are gonna say, well, he's never passing to him, and it's so obvious right now. He doesn't use him at all. I need to see Cody using Kerkez, and maybe our view of the situation changes a little, because Kerkez, I've seen him in the positions multiple times every game.
Yeah.
Not being used. And it's just
that's the thing, like, he's making those runs and not getting the ball. And you can see it with him as well. After a couple of them, you can see him start to get the hump a little bit about it. But it kind of reminds me of, do you remember when we were flying under Klopp, like 2017 into 2018 into 2019, and then obviously win the league in 2020? Henderson used to make those big kind of over-exaggerated looping runs around Mo to give Mo the option. And it worked for a time. It dragged a fullback away, it dragged somebody away. And then everybody realized, hang on, Salah never passes the ball to him, never gives him the ball. So now Henderson's making these huge, big looping runs, and everybody's ignoring him. And it was at that point Mo realized, hang on, nobody goes with him. I'll just give him the ball now. And it created a bit of danger out of it. But with Cody, you can see when Cody gets the ball, Cody has one thought in mind. I'm cutting inside. And then he cuts inside. And then he's got option A and option B. Option A is I'm going to shoot. If he's too far out for shooting, or he's not got the right angle, or he doesn't have a clear enough sight of goal, he floats that cross to the back post. And that's it. That is the extent of Cody Gakpo's bag. And he's missing the most simple option of all, which is just that little rolled ball down the line before he cuts in, which will make the cut in more of a weapon, because now the fella in front of him doesn't know, is he going to cut in or is he going to feed Kirkes on the overlap? Right now, they know he's not feeding Kirkes, so I'm just going to step across with him and step across with him and step across with him. And he's not going to get past me because he's not quick enough. So unless he uses his size, which Cody doesn't do often enough, he's just going to stay in front of me, and he's going to end up passing the ball backwards to McAllister or Gravenberch or to Van Dijk or whoever. But that's danger over. But if he starts using Kirkes initially, it opens things up and it'll make that cut in easier. Then when he cuts in, there's the shot potentially, the cross potentially. There's also the reverse pass back where he's just been to give it to Kirkes. He doesn't have to give it to him the first time. He could give it to him the second time. And it would create a whole new world for Cody Gakpo, a world in which he has more time and space to get himself repositioned for another ball back that might create an easier shot for him.
Well, and to add on to that, Dave, Wirtz is cutting in when he's, when he's cutting in. Wirtz is just underlapping or overlap, or like making that run in behind a bunch of defenders. So is Ekitike at times. It's like, dude, if you're not using Kirkes, there's someone, you've attracted all these defenders to you. Great. You're doing a great job with that. By the way, his shots get blocked. So there's going to be 2 or 3 people in front of him because they're worried about him, which is great. Again, he's got himself a reputation of finishing very well, cutting in. You've got to start to find the little cheeky dink pass, the cheeky, like you said, not only the reverse, but another kind of solution to getting someone else in to take advantage of the position you've just created for your team. He doesn't do it enough apart from the back post dink, which is always overhit or overkilled. Like, it's just never perfect. He's got to find something else, because then people will be too worried about what he's gonna do. Like you said, he'll probably get more shooting opportunities, clear ones, and that might actually make him an even better player and a better threat. But one thing Yanis just said, and you might have missed the comment, but he said that one thing Cody does do is back up Kirkes a lot, going back, which is one of his good attributes. So whoever plays there would have to maybe do that too.
That wouldn't be an issue, because Wirtz works harder than Cody does. He's also quicker than Cody does. Like, Cody's good at getting back and blocking passing lanes, again, because he's massive. Like, Cody's 6'3", 6'4", so he is a decent defensive player from that regard, and he's got the willingness to do it, as has been mentioned in the chat there. So that's fine. But Wirtz will do all of that as well. That's not an issue. Like, we looked at Morgan Rogers this transfer window, I believe, to play instead of Cody, and
how tall is Morgan, by the way?
6'2" or 6'3".
Okay, so it's not much of a drop. Like, at the moment,
no, so he's the same size as Cody. He's much quicker than Cody. He's more direct than Cody. He's got far more options in his bag than Cody. He's equally as hardworking. and he's more explosive. Like the biggest issue with Cody, what puts like a look, Cody's one of those players where he's got a very high floor. Like Cody's bad games are still decent because fundamentally he's a good player. Technically he's a good player. He's obviously an intelligent player, but he lacks explosiveness. So he's got a low ceiling. Cody's best game, people will always look too heavily into, oh, he scored 2 goals, he must have played great. Players can play badly and score hat-tricks. It doesn't change the fact that they've played badly. They've just scored a hat-trick. But Cody's never going to have a game where he absolutely destroys a fullback unless it's somebody terrible. Most fullbacks are going to be quicker than Cody. They're going to have more dexterity than Cody, so they're going to be able to turn and deal with him and what he does quite well until he improves his decision-making, or at least opens himself up to better decision-making by adding the options of the first-time ball down the line, the reverse pass, or you mentioned it, like those little runs that we've seen Wirtz make and Hugo make, that little slip ball into the crease. It's easy. Like, it's easy stuff for a player of his ability. And it's almost like he doesn't back himself enough.
No, he's afraid. I think that's the same thing with Grav. Like, you know, when he is in those positions, I think he could make the pass. I think it's the bravery that's the problem. You know, when he's in that sixth role, I think he can make those passes. He's shown it in some games, but doesn't do it all the time. And that's where you said he keeps going round the back line or, you know, left or right or back. That's where the frustration then comes with slowing us down. But I actually think he's got it in his locker. I think he could do it. I think he lacks, like Cody, there's a little bit of that self-confidence still not there yet. But I don't know how you're going to get it if you just win a title. Like, this is the time to show it off. You know, if you lose the ball, you're all in position. It's not like, you know, you're there. You've got 4 defenders with you, behind you. You'll be able to cover it off, no problem. It would be nice to see him and Cody do a few more of those. But I think we've been very balanced. I think we've covered off a lot of the good stuff they do at the same time here.
Of course. I mean, both of them do more good than bad. That's not the issue here.
Yeah.
The issue is they put a ceiling on what this team can achieve. Whereas if you put in an Adam Wharton as the 6, all of a sudden our build-up play becomes more purposeful. It becomes quicker. It becomes much more of a threat. We become a far more flexible team because a player like Adam Wharton, like his weak-footed passing is better than, and this is, again, not to knock Grav, but Wharton's weak-footed passing is better than Gravenberch's good-foot passing. Wharton's strong-foot passing is top 2, top 3 in the world. He is that good. And people will point at things like, oh, well, his pass percentage isn't great. Who fucking cares? People have this.
Brave. He's very brave.
Exactly. It's about bravery. It's also about the players he's playing the ball to. Like, he's playing the ball to some substandard players in that Crystal Palace team. You put him in our team with a much higher level of receiver, all of a sudden some of those passes that bounce off people and get counted as incomplete passes don't count as incomplete passes anymore because our lads control that ball and get going. You put someone like a Morgan Rogers on the left wing instead of Cody, and again we go up because again you're adding a better player who has just far more about him and more confidence and more willingness to do different things and more explosiveness than Cody has. So, I mean, and that, like, the thing is, Wharton's arrival doesn't mean Gravenberch goes out of the team. It probably does because Alexis is just a better footballer than him. But there'll still be plenty of opportunities for him to play as the 8. He'd still play some games as the 6. And maybe he gets some games as the 10. And there's games we play against top clubs, especially if we move Szoboszlai to right back on a permanent basis, which I think is something we should look at, because if we have him as the starter and Bradley as the backup, well, all of a sudden now we've just spawned cover for Mo in the shape of Jeremy Frimpong, who could also maybe come on the left in some games and, you know, add an explosive threat there.
I would like to see him used further up as well when we get a chance and build.
Exactly. But if we're doing that, then there is a need for another attacking midfield option. And I'd really like to see what Ryan Gravenberch would look in that number 10 role with Alexis and Wharton behind him, who are going to be able to find him quickly and sharply with passes in space where he can turn. And all of a sudden, imagine Ryan Gravenberch 40 yards from goal, running at centre-backs.
Yeah,
running at big, cumbersome, lumbering centre-backs. Whether they're Dan Burn or Ruben Diaz, Gravenberch is going to absolutely rinse the shit out of them.
Yeah,
and he'll become a totally different type of player.
I don't think people should think about Wharton as the Grav replacement. I think Wharton's the Endo replacement in the squad. We need all those players. We need to have, I mean, imagine if we had a Wharton in the squad now instead of Endo, be used way more. It would be very much more like, you know, I think we just have a brilliant squad then to rotate nicely if that happens.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, it just, at the moment, Endo's not a starter. He's a 10-minute sub player to kill off a game. That's never.
And let's be honest, the manager uses him more as a centre back than he does as a holding midfielder.
Well, exactly, and I think.
So I think he's actually more the fifth. Like when I look at our squad, I look at centre backs: Verge, Ibu, Joe Gomez, and Giovanni Leone, and I think Endo's the fifth centre back more than he is, say, the sixth midfielder. I think when we look at the midfield group, in terms of, you know, starting games, I think you're looking at McAllister, Grav, Wirtz, Szoboszlai, Jones, and I actually think Trainiani is more likely to start under this manager in midfield than Wataru Endo is. It also means, just for the first 5 months of the season or whatever it is till we get to January, that if Endo is viewed more as the centre-back, there might be an opportunity somewhere along the way for Stefan Bajcetic. Now, I still think people need to come to terms with the fact that he's not Sergio Busquets, he's not N'Golo Kante, he's not Roy Keane, he's not Steven Gerrard. He's a talented young player who's basically lost 2 years of his career now, one through injury and one through poorly chosen loans. He's also just had hamstring surgery. So, like, he's got a lot of work to do to get back to being anywhere close to even making our bench. But there might be more of an opportunity for him, because I do think the manager will look at Endo and think, you know, at centre-back, you're okay, but I don't really want you in midfield. Even though when he started him in midfield against Chelsea, he was outstanding. He was one of probably our best player on the day.
It's nice to have that. I think it's a backup, but I think we make a mistake with signings and stuff. I mean, we love Endo. He's a good guy as well. Like that's it. He gives one thing about Endo is gives 100%. The problem is his speed and, you know, his age is getting on. I think what we do need to do next season is definitely move that on. I think it's like the Chiesa thing. We all love Chiesa. We want Chiesa to do brilliant. We want him to do fantastic, but he's blocked a winger coming in with this one, with him not going. Now, we love his song. We don't want to lose it, but when you think about winning things, is the manager really going to play him? He is not. You know, it's going to be in the cup games, and that's the real story of the situation. Is that because these two players didn't leave, is that those two players, maybe we didn't go for those that to come in. So I think next season, not only is there going to be a centre back discussion, but there's going to be a, you know, those two other positions discussion as well.
Yeah, so, and look, there might be a right wing discussion to have next summer as well, because I know he signed a 2-year deal, but I wouldn't rule out Mo leaving in 2026. I think it's a possibility if the right offer came in for him. I think it'll be entirely his decision. Like, I don't think it's a situation where the club would go to him and say, look, we've accepted an offer for you. But if he came to them and said, look, do you know what? I've done 9 years now. I want to go and you know, I want to go to Saudi and take the opportunity now and whatever. I've won everything, and hopefully at that point he'll have won a Ballon d'Or, because I think he should win the Ballon d'Or this year. So if he says, I've done it all, what more can I do now? I've got 3 league titles and I've got a Ballon d'Or and a European Cup. I'm going to go. Like, we know who option A is. It's Michael Olise, who's allegedly got a release clause. And if the opportunity is there to get him, I think we have to take it, because he secures that position for us then for the next 6-7 years. And while he's not Mo, I do think his ceiling is incredibly high. I think he could reach the levels Mo got to. Maybe not the goal numbers, but I think he'll be even more creative than Mo, and he's shown he can score goals.
Yeah, I think someone did analysis on the Discord that we got, and I think, or maybe it was Sai actually. Sai said we've got 46 more goal involvements than last season's squad. Like if you go like for what they did last season, those players, there's 46 goal involvements more in the squad now.
Yeah,
and he said we're about 3,000 or 4,000 minutes up as well in terms of availability. So I know we all think we're a left winger down. I know we all think we're a centre back down. But in terms of availability, we've added a lot of durable players, more durable players into the thing. I think if we're going to do what you say in terms of rotating around the forwards correctly, then we take away that problem of overplaying players too much. And I actually think Dom, I do want to rest Dom in some week games weekday, because he gets burnt out by blimmin' December, man, every time.
Yeah,
I want Dom to go all year because we are going to be.
That's the thing. And that's something I don't think Arne did well last year. I don't think he kept players at that optimum level. Like, look, there's very few things you can criticize Arne Slot for since he took the job. He's done an amazing job. But I do think he can be a bit more open with his rotations. And it's not just Dom, Gravenberch as well. I mean, he was toast by January. And his performances from February on were absolutely honking.
I actually thought it was November, bro. I honestly thought from December onwards, Grav dipped.
Yeah, I mean, he did. They definitely started to dip from December on, but like from February on, he looked like a fella who'd won a raffle. But Dom looked like a fella who'd won a raffle for a couple of months as well. And then, Mo tailed off badly at the end of the season. Now with Mo, I think it's different though. Like with Dom and with Grav, Arne Slot can just say to them, look, you're not on the team this week. So sit your ass on the bench, and if I need you for 15, I'll give you a shout. If he tells Mo Salah to sit on the bench, Mo is sitting beside him, and he's just going to be poking him in the arm going, can I go on now? Can I go on now? Mo, the game hasn't kicked off yet. Can I go on now? Can I go on now? Mo, we're 5 minutes in. Yeah, but I want to go on. So he's going to annoy the piss out of Arne. So you're better off just starting Mo and then maybe taking him off on the hour.
Yeah, but I think so. I think
that's one thing. And the other thing, like, the tied to it is, and I think it did hurt us a little bit in the summer transfer window. So look at some of the players we sold. I think we should have gotten more for Tyler Morton than 10 rising to 15. Because the previous season we turned down 18, but Arne didn't play him. And I know he missed a couple of months through injury, but he still didn't play him. He played 250 minutes all season?
The rumour, Dave, is that the reason why we did that is because we've got first option on Malik for that. For three.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not necessarily a good thing for us, because that's a player who doesn't improve us. It's a very talented young player, but he's 2 to 3 years away from being someone that we should be considering to bring in for the type of money that they want for him. He needs an in-between move. But I look at Harvey Elliott goes on a loan with an obligation to buy for 35 million. Now, I actually think that's a fair price for Harvey, because I think that's what he's worth. However, when I look around at other players of a similar age and a similar type who left, let's just look at Omari Hutchinson, who was at Ipswich, 32.5 million. Well, Harvey's much more proven in the division than him. But
I don't think it's just on Harvey, though. I think there's something about Morgan Rogers in that.
It's because Arne didn't play him last year.
Oh, yeah, that.
He didn't give him enough opportunity, so his value dropped.
But also maybe because they've talked about Morgan and there's something in it for...
Yeah, and I hope that's the case. But, I also then look at Federico Chiesa. What offers did we have for him this summer? None. Couple loan options.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to buy him because he didn't play enough.
No.
Because teams are like, is he washed? What's the situation? We didn't get any offers in for Endo. Why? Because he didn't play him enough.
True.
If they played a bit more, there would have been teams knocking on the door for them. And we could have sold them. And we could have then gone and got Morgan Rogers and whoever else we wanted.
For example,
now, I know we did, deals to set up other deals. I know one of the reasons that we went about the Gahey thing the way we did was because we were also setting up the possibility to get Adam Wharton, and we know we've had his people at Axe and we've spoken to them, and it seems like that's a move he's very interested in. And like you said, I think Morgan Rogers is a name that came up a lot in the conversations over Harvey and different things like that. But like, it's smart to operate in that way, but we also take Stefan Bajcetic, for example, right? If we want to sell him next summer, we need to be able in negotiations to say, well, look, he's just played 600, 700, 800 minutes this season. He's performed at a very high level. He's 21, 22. We think this is a 22, 23 million pound player. But if he's played 100 minutes, and he is going to be way down the list, if he's played 150, 180 minutes, it's very hard to walk into a room and say, yeah, we think he's worth 22, 23 million, because they're going to look at it and go, well, then why didn't he play for you?
Yeah.
Like, the reason we got good money for Ben Doak is because he went on loan and looked so impressive.
Yeah. I think what I wanted to also add was there's so many minutes available. Like, just have a think about the Champions League last year, right? We went and won all of the games did we win every single one, or did we draw the last one or lose the last one? I think we lost the last one. But I think we just went on this run of winning all those 7 games or whatever it was, 6 games. There was no point to it. We ended up drawing PSG. There was absolutely no point to it. So I don't think he needs to go so strong in the early stages all the time. He can make some rotations. He can play a pretty strong team, but have 2 or 3 players that need to have the minutes shared and they can come on for 30 minutes to try and win a game. I don't mind winning last minute games in the Champions League as well, but because you've had some subs come on and win it. But I don't think he needs to always go that strong in those early stages. It's such a long season. That first stage is so big now. You could win the last 4 games instead of the first 4 to get in.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
he needs to be smarter with this season. Like you say, there's plenty of minutes there. He needs to be smarter how you use some of the Champions League games, especially at home. Maybe the away games he goes stronger because you want to win some of those. At home, the crowd will get through some of it, So I agree with you. I think some of those players need to play. They need to prove themselves. They need to be given a chance. And he's got so much opportunity, dude. There's so many games coming up.
So last year in the Champions League, right? We win the first 7, lose the last 1. We finished with 21 points and we topped the group phase or the league phase, right? Aston Villa were the team that finished in 8th and were the final team to automatically advance to the round of 16. And I think that's the aim. I think you want to make sure you avoid the playoff phase and you get yourself straight through.
Yeah.
Villa took 16 points, so 5 less than us. They lost twice and drew 1.
Which is fine.
Which is absolutely fine. I think we can look at that and think, right, 5 wins, a draw, and we're good. 6 wins, we're great. We're absolutely rolling through.
I'd take 4 wins, 4 draws, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be fine. But, like, the problem we had last year, so we lose to PSV, right? Now, if we beat PSV, so the flip side is, if we won the first 7, we should have just won the 8th one as well. Because if we beat PSV, then PSV finish, rather than finishing in 14th, they finish all the way down in 23rd. And that means that PSG, instead of finishing 15th, finish 14th and don't end up in our side of the draw. We would have avoided them. So us losing to PSV is what fucked us. So either go all out to win it, but win it running away, and make sure you know before the final game what all the machinations are.
Yeah.
Or
I agree. You better be smart.
just aim to get into the top 8 and don't worry about the rest of it.
Exactly. And then just let it go because you're going to have a fit squad. And it helps. Like, look at PSG. They kicked on from December onwards, January onwards, and they went and won it. And that's sometimes conserving the energy. And as long as you're doing well in the Premier League, the Champions League, you don't have to do well in that first stage. You don't. It's what happens in the knockouts that means more. So
look,
I think we need to be smart.
PSG were going out of the Champions League.
Yeah.
PSG were going out of the Champions League in match week 7. They were 2-0 down at home to Manchester City in match week 7. They had lost 3 of the previous 6 games. They had a total of 7 points. If City had held on and beat them, PSG would have had a maximum of 10 points for winning their last game. That would have made them finish in 26th position, and they would have been out. PSG were going out with 35 minutes to play in match week 7.
It's insane.
And still went on and won it. We were pissing through.
Yeah, we were. I've only got a few minutes left, but I wanted to get first your thoughts on Isak. We haven't covered him enough, what he's going to do for this squad and this team. And then maybe a look ahead to what you think we can achieve, Dave, in this season ahead now. And maybe even a look ahead to what we could do in January with the transfers. Maybe we could do that last. But yeah, Isak and maybe what this team could achieve. What are your thoughts?
I think he's the best number 9 in Europe. Now, saying that, my preferred number 9 this summer was Julian Alvarez, and I stand by that. I just think he made a lot of sense for us. But when we signed Hugo, Alvarez made less sense because stylistically they're closer than either of them are to Isak. So as a pure number 9, Isak is the best in Europe. Like, I know Erling Haaland's a better goal scorer, but he's not as good a footballer as Alexander Isak. Alexander Isak's game has changed quite drastically since he went to Newcastle. He still can do all of the same things he used to do, but when we signed him, when Newcastle signed him, rather, he was kind of like Hugo. He was in that Benzema type of mold, where yes, he's a 9, but he's a facilitating 9, who, you know, similar to what Bobby used to do for us as well. He brings other players into the game, but unlike Bobby, but more like Benzema and Hugo, he's a great dribbler of the ball, and he's inventive in that sort of way, creates space through movement. Now you look at him play, and he can still do all that stuff, but he's developed into a real penalty box 9. And I think his game is like a more explosive Harry Kane. Now, he hasn't scored Kane-level goals yet, but he also hasn't played in an elite-level team yet. He's yet to play with an elite-level creator. You look at Newcastle, there's no real creator in that team. The wingers get assists, but they get them on counter-attacks by beating a man and pulling a cross back. The midfield is Gameirish, wonderful player, not someone that unlocks defences. Tonali, wonderful player, not someone that unlocks defences. And Joelinton, who I assume they have on loan from Newcastle Falcons rugby team. So you put him in our team. Mo Salah is one of the best creative players in Europe. Florian Wirtz is one of the best creative players in Europe. Dominic Szoboszlai is more creative than anybody he played with at Newcastle. I think there's real scope here for Isak to take his goal scoring to levels that we didn't think were possible for him. I think in all competitions, this guy could aim for 40 a season. Not this year because he's missed pre-season and we're going to manage him. But I think next season 40 is possible because of his finishing is absolutely exceptional. Like, it's something he's clearly worked on. He's become a really, really good finisher. He's improved his headed finishing as well. He can finish off both feet. He can finish with different parts of his foot. He can score kind of unusual goals as well because, you know, he can do things where he gets a defender one-on-one and rather than beat him, he'll just freeze that defender and bend the ball round him into the far corner. Like these real sort of untraditional type of finishes. He finishes with flicks. He does different tricks. I think he's an absolutely phenomenal footballer. Like I said it before, I think the two best players that moved anywhere in Europe this season are Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz, and we signed both of them.
The stuff
like, what is this? What club is this? Who has kidnapped John Henry and taken his wallet?
Well, it's because Boston keeps selling players, I reckon. But anyway.
Well, see, the good thing now is FSG are looking at selling the Pittsburgh Penguins, or at least selling a share in the Pittsburgh Penguins, which, when Michael Edwards takes that money, combines it with what's left of the Coutinho money, sticks it in a bit of crypto for a few months, and then takes it back out. I mean, that could cover Elise, Wharton, Rogers, Gahey, and another centre-back next summer.
It would. And I think maybe even Mo gets sold for about 100 million to Saudi next summer. So
yeah,
it brings the money in. I think that's maybe even in the Isak discussions, that was probably part of a promise in that.
This is the thing, like Isak and Hugo, in particular Hugo, like these are post-Salah signings.
Yeah.
These are for the next iteration of Liverpool. Like if you look at our big three, Mo, Verge, and Ali, Mamardashvili is the successor to Alisson. Whenever that day comes, that's that succession plan locked in.
Yeah.
We don't have one for Mo, but I think we know who it is. I think we know it's Michael Elise.
Yeah.
And if we sell Mo next summer, we'll buy Michael Elise. We might even buy him anyway and just carry the two of them for a year because, you might as well. But I think we've already planned for both of them to leave within the next year or two. I get the feeling that's a different plan with Virgil, where potentially he sticks around until he's 37, 38, because he's still the best defender in the world by a country mile.
As long as he can do it for 90 minutes a week, so he then picks the game. So if he gets to the older age and he can only do one game a week, he picks the one he's going to play.
Yeah.
And that's how you then play it, or you do 60 and 60.
And this is where Mark Gahey makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I don't think Mark Gahey is the level of centre-back to start for us, in part because we haven't seen him defend big spaces, so we don't know how he adapts to that. But he's also just not a Liverpool profile of centre-back, and he's not 6'4", he's not aerially dominant.
Yeah.
But what he is he's a really good passer of the ball. He's an organiser and a leader, and he can play both sides in a two. So if you've got, let's say, Ibu re-signs and stays, and I think we all hope that's what happens.
Yeah, 100%.
He's the starter next to Virgil, and Gahey's the third centre-back. And what that means is, if Virgil needs a rest or if Ibu needs a rest, he starts instead of them. Yeah. And then we develop Leone, and maybe we sign someone like Jeremy Jacquet as well, and we develop him, or maybe Amaro Nallo or Welity Lucky take a step forward, and we develop them as like the future pairing. So Gahey would never become a nailed-on long-term starter, but he would be a really important squad player. Like he'd be the 12th player.
Back as well. He could literally.
No, he couldn't play left back. No, he couldn't. No, he could play right back, but he couldn't play left back. Because you play him left back, he's going to have too much bias to cut inside in his right foot. You've got to have some width in a team, and because we don't play with a left-footed left winger, everything will be just too narrow. And also, I think he might struggle defending left back because I just think angle bias would hurt him. But he get away with it in some games.
He becomes the Milner of the defense, basically.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
he becomes the Joe Gomez.
Yeah,
that's what he becomes. He becomes
a more durable one. A more durable.
Yes, hopefully more durable one. But so I think with doing that, with saying to him and to Virgil, you could have a situation where Gahey, even though he's not a starter, actually would start more games across the course of a season because Ibu will get injured at some point and because you'd want to rest Virgil for a number of games. But we watched Thiago Silva, who in his very, very prime at AC Milan in the early days at PSG wasn't fit to lace Virgil's boots. We saw him play in the Premier League till 39 and be largely fine.
Yeah.
And Virgil's only 34. And he's like the gulf between him and the next best defender in the league, when Ibu's not on it, the gulf is enormous. When Ibu's on it, the gulf is still big, but it's the gulf to Ibu. Yeah. But when Ibu's playing like he did against Newcastle, the gulf is astronomical. So I don't see why, even if it's a succession of 1-year contracts, I do think we would keep Virgil longer than the other two. I think we keep Ali, but I think Ali might want to go back to Brazil.
Yeah.
And I think he might have already indicated that in talks with the club, but we don't know. We'll see. So in terms of Isak, I think he is a post-Mo signing, and I think there's a vision of what a post-Mo Salah attack might look like. And I think in an ideal world, it's probably Elise on the right, Wirtz as the 10, Kavicha on the left, and Isak as the 9. But with Kavicha probably not being an option, the most Kavicha-esque wing option is Morgan Rogers. Similar size, similar style of play, great ball carrier. I think he's the closest thing. And unless you can get a Bradley Barcola, I think he might be the best option as well. Now, Bradley Barcola might be a terrible set of lads. We have unconfirmed reports on that. But, you know, I think that's what the post-Salah attack could look like. Mamardashvili is how the post-Ali goalkeeping situation looks like. Mamardashvili is the starter, potentially Yaros as the backup, and Armin Pesci as the third choice. And then when Yaros moves on, Pesci becomes the backup, and maybe I can't think of the kid's name, Miskure, the kid in the academy, he becomes third choice. So I think that's all set in stone. If Wharton arrives, then the midfield picture is kind of set in stone for a number of years with him and Ali and Grav and Curtis and obviously Florian Wirtz and Trainiani. The fullbacks will need a long-term left-back cover behind Kirkes.
Yeah.
I think right-back, if it's Dom and Bradley, I think that's great. Frimpong can obviously play there as well, but I do think he might be more valuable to us as a versatile attacking option. Yeah. And then the centre-back picture, if we re-sign Ibu and we get Mark Ahey in, the centre-backs is kind of locked in as well. You'd like that fifth one, but I think they would love to give that opportunity to one of the academy centre-backs, either Nallo or Lucky, depending on how they develop this year. But if not, I think we go and we buy someone next summer. We find whoever the next Giovanni Leone is, somebody who might eventually then count as a homegrown player as well. So get them in at that age.
Yeah.
Do you know?
So with that, Dave, what do you think we can achieve this year?
This season? I think we can retain the league. I don't buy this thing that we're nailed on favourites to retain the league. I think you have to show some respect to the other clubs. But I do think we are the favourites. I just don't think it's as nailed on as people say, because we're trying to blood half a new team.
I agree. It's not
it's very, very difficult to do. And I said this to Carl. I think we've got a better chance of winning the Champions League than we do the Premier League this season. Yeah. I think we're stronger favourites in the Champions League. And I know people will point at PSG. I think if we'd had Isak last season against PSG, I think we'd have beaten them.
Yeah, 100%. I think you know what it is, Dave? We haven't seen Isak just yet in the team.
No.
And we haven't seen what he'd do just yet. And I think we might change our minds if he starts to score straight away. If he starts to...
What do you reckon he gets tomorrow? Do you reckon he gets 15?
Yeah. I think he's debuting tomorrow as a sub. 100% getting on 10, 15 minutes. Like, I just think Arna hinted at it. We're going to use him like Sweden did. 20 minutes, right? Sweden gave him. So, and I think Ekatike is going to need to not play 90 if he's starting every game for the next 3-4 weeks. So Ekatike is going to have to play 70, 60, 70, 60, 70, 60.
And this is the thing, Gags. Hugo has been coming off in games on like 75, 80.
Yeah,
and there's a noticeable drop off
massive.
in our play. But if
Not
he's
anymore.
coming off and Isak is coming on, and
Defenders
coming
are
on,
fucked.
remember, against tired defenders as well.
Oh, he might just score a ton in the little minutes he gets for a month, and he could
Imagine if
have
we
the
make him the
craziest.
world's most expensive super sub and he scores like 35 a season off the bench.
Mate, imagine if the first month he gets like 10, 12 goals, and it's just like his
Yeah,
minutes per goal is like 5 minutes per goal or something stupid. It's
but
just
he's
going to be like,
capable. Like, this is the thing. He's capable, and we've got players that are capable of giving them chances. Like, look
yeah,
look at
defensive
there's
time.
videos that are 7 and 8 minutes long of the chances that our players missed from Mo Salah passes in the last couple of years. Now you're giving those chances to Alexander Isak.
I think it's what he adds though. It's like in the air, on the floor, volleys, dribbles. He can do. I mean, it's just like one of the most perfect forwards you could probably buy. Like I see like hints of Suarez in there. He's not like Suarez, but hints of it. You see hints of a clinical finisher in there as well. Things that we've had in the past, like a Fowler, should you say? Both footed as well, 2-footed. He finishes with both. Like he's not. He can pass and shoot with both feet. How long has it been since we did that as a striker?
This is the thing as well. Like, you look at our forward line over the years. When we had Mo, Bobby, and Sadio, teams had to double team Mo, they had to double team Sadio, and Bobby frequently got left in 1v1 situations. Now, he took advantage of a lot of those. But then Bobby started to decline and couldn't take advantage. Sadio started to decline, and teams no longer had to double team them. Nope. Diaz never really commanded double teams. Darwin never commanded them. Diogo never commanded them. And Cody's never commanded double teams. And Mo has ended up in situations where teams could just completely target him.
Yep.
Now they can't do that anymore. Because not only do we have Mo, we've got Isak, who requires a double team. We've also got Florian Wirtz, who requires a double team a lot of the time. We're going to be much, much more difficult to stop now. But it has to click, and it will take time to click.
Yeah.
It will take time, and people need to just be patient. Like, look at the results thus far. We haven't played well in any of the 3 games. We've got 9 points. We play Burnley tomorrow. We probably won't need to play anywhere close to our best to beat them. That's 12 points. All of a sudden, you're starting to churn through the games and rack up points and open gaps on, like, what happens tomorrow or today? Is it today? It's happening now, isn't it? That the Arne Slot new manager, or the Ange Postecoglou new manager bounce is going to wreak havoc at the Emirates. What happens if Forest beat them? And let's say the Manchester Derby. I don't think he will either, but let's say he does. And what happens if the Manchester Derby is a draw tomorrow? Well, all of a sudden, coming out of this weekend, we could be 8 points clear of City and 5 or 6 points clear of Arsenal. I mean, now, Chelsea would be within a couple, but I don't worry about Chelsea. Until Chelsea give me reason to worry about them, I'm not going to worry about them.
Yeah.
But if we're suddenly 5 and 6 points ahead of Arsenal and City, or 5 and 9 points, whatever it would be, that's very hard for them to claw back across the season. Even this early, it's very hard to claw that back.
It is. I mean, it would be. It gives you also early in the season. It gives you a couple of duds if you do have to draw a couple of games. It gives you that chance to, like, hey, it's okay. They're going to still, because the other teams will still draw and lose games if they've already lost it.
Of course they will.
They've got to go on a Liverpool type run from last season to have, win 8 out of 10. Like, we didn't actually do 5 in a row last year. We kept on winning 2 or 3, a draw, 2 or 3, a draw, 2 or 3, a draw, a 2 or 3, a draw. And it just kept on, adding up because the others were doing worse. So I think if that starts this year, and by the way, I think Arteta's got a really good squad of players. I just don't think Arteta's a very good manager.
Same.
I think if anybody else managed that team, I would be way more worried.
Yeah.
But also, I probably wouldn't have as much of a problem with them winning if it was someone else managing them, because I just don't like him. He's the negative. He's such a twat. Like, I just don't like Lego Head at all. And he just brings the game if they were playing beautiful football like Arsenal of Henry, you actually admired the team. Even though you hated losing to them, you'd admire the team. You could not. Like, you had to, because they played it in the right way. The way they play is Stoke City. You cannot admire it. It's because of the manager. It's not the players. It's the manager that's making them do that. So they could have a good set of lads that you actually want to succeed and do well and watch and go, whoa, I don't want to lose to them, but if they do well, fair play. You can't say that right now because the manager's a twat. You can't say that about anyone, really, in the league.
No, and their fan base have started to mirror that manager as well, which makes it even worse because they've become incredibly deluded. But, you know, like, I've seen people say, oh, well, nobody says that about Mourinho. Mourinho won. Mourinho won. He won a European Cup and a UEFA Cup with Porto. Like, with Porto, without spending this idea that Jose only won when he spent. He won a European Cup with Porto.
Yes, but also what they
forget is came to the Premier League and he blew everybody away for 2 years.
Mate,
and the idea that he was uber defensive just isn't true.
No, Robin
that only happened when he went to Inter.
When he got Robin and Duff in, and he got
yes,
they were insane team. They were
Robin and Duff on the wings. Drogba as the 9, Lampard behind him as a 10. They were outstanding. They might not have been as pretty as Arsenal, but they were not a defensive team. He only became an uber defensive manager when he went to Inter and they played Barcelona in that semi-final. Prior to that, his teams dominated games. Go and look at our games against them when he was at Chelsea. They dominated the ball. They attacked us relentlessly. We hit them on counterattacks.
Yeah.
They did that to everybody.
I agree with you. I think there's a change of narrative around a manager. But when he was in there, I used to envy the attacking prowess of his teams.
Yeah.
I used to envy having Damien. I really wanted Damien Duff at Liverpool back in the day.
Yeah, same.
I was desperate for him, in fact. And then when they got Damien Duff and fucking Arjen Robben, it was like, this is unfair. Like, it was.
Robben was just insane.
Yeah,
like there was like a 5-week stretch where it seemed like Arjen Robben scored the same goal every week, where he dropped back, took the ball off a centre back, and just ran through everybody much quicker than they could move. But they were like that Chelsea team. But this is the thing: Mourinho won. He won with Porto. He won league titles with Chelsea. He went to Inter Milan and he won a treble. And yes, he became an uber defensive manager afterwards. But he still fucking won. He won a league title with Real Madrid up against that Pep Guardiola Barca team. He came back to the Premier League and he won the Premier League with a bad Chelsea team.
Didn't he win the Europa
That's why he gets away with it.
Did he win the Europa League with United?
He won the Europa League and the League Cup with United. Yeah. The only club he failed at, really, well, Spurs.
Yeah.
But he got them to a cup final and then they sacked him the week before it, which was weird. Then he went to Roma and he won a European trophy there as well. And he's obviously been at Fenerbahce and it hasn't worked out and, you know, he's left and whatever. But, like, Jose Mourinho is one of the greatest managers who's ever lived. And his run from the day he took over at Porto up until the day he left Real Madrid, I think it's 11 years. It's arguably the best 11 years any manager has ever had, ever, including what Bob did with us, by the way. Now, Bob has an extra European Cup.
Or do we not include Pep because of City?
See, the thing is, with Pep, like,
Barcelona,
Pep has always had the deck stacked in his favour.
True.
Like, Pep has never walked into a club where there's been even a hint of an underdog status. Barcelona, it's one of the top 2 in Spain, unlimited money, this insane academy that's, oh, by the way, just coughed out Xavi, Puyol, Iniesta, Busquets, and Messi. Like, okay, I can do that. Goes to Bayern. They just won the European Cup as part of a treble. They dominate the Bundesliga every year. He didn't win a European Cup there. He won the league. But everybody wins the league there. Me and you could go win. Vincent Kompany won the league there. And then he goes to City. It's the richest club in the world. And he spent billions. Like,
Yeah,
he's always had, no manager in history's ever had the deck stacked more in their favour. And you can argue that, you know, Mourinho had all the money at Chelsea and he had this situation in there. That's fine. But Pep has never done and would never do what Mourinho did at Porto. He would
I
never
agree.
be able to do that.
I agree. So we're having to cut short because we have another show going live shortly on AITV. So Dave, thank you so much for this. It was great catching up. I think we should try and do it more regularly on Saturdays if we can. It would be great when you're free, and if you haven't got a busy schedule on the weekends, maybe we can pick these up. But yeah, this was a great Old Skool. Thank you very much. Any last words before we go?
No, I'm definitely up for doing more of these. I'm hoping in the next little kind of 6 week span to build myself a new office.
Nice.
Because we are very tight for space in the house, so therefore I have to podcast in the kitchen, and that limits limits my missus' ability to be anywhere in the house. So I'm planning to build an office as an extension to an existing outbuilding that we built, and then I'll have to just insulate it and make sure I'm not going to freeze in it. But yeah, that's the plan. And once I have that up and running, yeah, I'd absolutely be up for doing more of these and more of whatever's needed, really.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Dave, and thank you everybody who joined, and about 1,300 in the end. But that's fantastic. We appreciate it. We'll be back with more Old Skool very, very soon. And yeah, there's a Daily Red starting very quickly. Get over onto that one next as well. We'll be back very soon, and up the Reds tomorrow. Let's get 3 points.